What would drive a mother to drown her 5 children in the very home they grew up in? A crime so shocking that it left the world in disbelief. In 2001, Andrea Yates committed an unimaginable act that would haunt the world for years to come. But was she truly guilty? Or was she a victim herself? Stick with us, because this is a story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about guilt, sanity, and justice. The Yates family lived in Clear Lake, Texas, a quiet suburban neighborhood where Andrea, once a nurse, cared for her 5 children alongside her husband, Rusty. But behind the doors of their home, everything was not as perfect as it seemed. Andrea, a devoted mother, wife, and nurse, had been battling depression for years. Over time, her mental state began to deteriorate. Could the pressures of motherhood and her own internal struggles have pushed her to the edge? What would unfold that day in June of 2001 would send shockwaves across the country. No one could have predicted the horrific events that would follow. But could the tragedy have been avoided? Was Andrea Yates simply a loving mother who snapped, or was something deeper at play? Could the system have done more to help her before it was too late? And if her illness was the true cause, who's responsible for what happened next? It was June 20th, 2001, when Andrea Yates would carry out a horrifying act. One by one, she drowned her 5 children in the family's bathtub. But what led to this unspeakable moment? The scene in the Yates household would shock the authorities. 5 young lives taken in the most tragic way imaginable. But was Andrea acting out of pure malice, or was her fragile mental state the real killer? The police would later discover Andrea's chilling confession. But what was behind it? What could drive a mother to commit such an act? The Yates family, once a picture of suburban bliss, had been hiding a growing storm behind closed doors. The world would soon learn the unimaginable truth, but could anyone have seen this coming? At first, Andrea was seen as a grieving mother, unable to comprehend the loss of her children. But as investigators dug deeper, the truth began to unfold. The authorities would find evidence suggesting Andrea had been battling a severe mental illness, one that had gone unchecked for far too long. She had been hospitalized multiple times, yet no one fully grasped the extent of her condition. Was Andrea even aware of what she had done? The prosecution would later argue that Andrea had gained the idea to drown her children from an episode of the popular TV show Law and Order. But was this claim true? Or was it simply a desperate attempt to explain away the unexplainable? But what would the jury decide? Would Andrea's mental illness be enough to justify her actions? Or would they convict her of a crime that seemed beyond comprehension? And could a broken system truly be blamed for the devastating consequences? As the trial continued, it was revealed that Andrea had been prescribed powerful medications to help with her severe depression. But just weeks before the murders, her doctor made a decision that would have devastating consequences. He discontinued her prescription of Haldol, a potent antipsychotic drug. Could this have triggered her breakdown? Was the withdrawal from the medication the final push that sent Andrea into a mental state beyond her control? Then, in a stunning turn of events, Andrea's conviction was overturned in 2005. The Texas Court of Appeals ruled that erroneous testimony had severely prejudiced the jury's decision. With this ruling, Andrea was granted a retrial. But the most shocking moment came in 2006. After years of legal battles and public scrutiny, Andrea Yates was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Rather than being sent to prison, Andrea was ordered to a mental hospital where she would remain for treatment. Not as a criminal, but as a woman whose mental illness had tragically consumed her. After years of psychiatric treatment, Andrea Yates' case continued to raise questions that still resonate today about the delicate balance between justice and mental health. Was Andrea Yates truly guilty of murder? Or was she simply a victim of her own mind, trapped in a mental illness too severe to recognize the horrors she was committing? She spent years in psychiatric hospitals, slowly receiving the treatment she so desperately needed. Yet, even now, many continue to ask, should she have been held fully responsible for her actions? As the years pass, Andrea's case continues to divide opinions across the country. Some believe she was a murderer, someone who took the lives of 5 innocent children. Others argue she was a victim of a broken system, one that failed to treat her mental illness before it reached a breaking point. The truth of Andrea Yates' actions may never be fully understood, but her story serves as a reminder, not just of the fragility of the human mind, but of how often society overlooks the need for real help until it's too late. Andrea's case continues to provoke powerful debates on how we treat those who suffer from mental illness and the responsibilities we hold when tragedy strikes. Is it a matter of justice, or is it a matter of mercy? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. We may never fully know the truth behind the tragedy of the Yates family, but one thing is certain: no one should have to face the depths of mental illness alone. What do you think? Was Andrea Yates truly guilty of murder? Or did she deserve the treatment for her illness? Should a mother, driven by severe mental illness, be held accountable for a crime as horrifying as this? We all have our opinions, but the truth isn't always as clear as we'd like it to be. Was the justice system right in handling this case the way it did? Could there have been a better solution for Andrea, for her children, or for society as a whole? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a conversation. What would you have done if you were in her shoes? Or if you were the judge in this case? If you found this case as haunting in thought, provoking as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the most perplexing true crime stories. We've only scratched the surface of Andrea Yates' story, and there's so much more to explore. Stick with us because in our next episode, we'll take a closer look at another chilling mystery that may have you questioning everything you thought you knew about justice and humanity. Sometimes the hardest question to answer isn't who did it, but why they did it. Andrea Yates' story will continue to raise uncomfortable questions about the balance between justice and mental health. Should she have been punished, or is she another victim of a broken system? Could mental illness truly drive someone to commit the unthinkable? Or is there something deeper in this story that we still don't fully understand? The questions surrounding Andrea Yates' actions may never be fully answered, but they challenge everything we know about justice, mercy, and the human mind. What do you think? Was Andrea Yates a criminal or a victim of circumstances beyond her control? Could she have been saved? What would you have done if you were the one who had to decide her fate? This is your chance to be part of the conversation. Comment below, share your thoughts, and join our growing community. Every story we cover leaves you with more questions than answers, and together we're getting closer to the truth. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and never miss a chilling mystery. This is just the beginning, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. More shocking true crime stories, more deep dives, and more of the questions that keep you up at night. See you in the next episode. And remember, the truth is often more twisted than fiction.